To the Break Room Classic Film fans, it's tea time for a coffee break.
Can you get Cab Calloway on it?
Add my patty wave sugar.
I'm sorry,
that gambling is going on in here.
By the way, how is your father?
But I want to know, does it bother you?
Hi guys and dolls, that girl's here again. Back this year with an all-new Summer Under the Stars edition of Cinema Coffee. And, as with last, I'll be featuring a garment from my Dominique private collection. This year, instead of showcasing a garment I've created specifically inspired by a classic Hollywood actress or film, showcasing a piece every week that I've created inspired by the golden age of Hollywood in general. As with this week's piece, Spanish Harlem. Every Friday, I'll be back here to share my personal film recommends for each actor, actress, entertainer, spotlighted each day of the week. Starting this week with Queen Bee, Bette Davis, Richard Burton, Kim Novak, Louis Armstrong, Margaret Rutherford, The Mitch, Robert Mitchum, and who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third, but I do know Abbott and Costello is on Saturday. Summer Under the Stars kicks off this Sunday with Bette Davis. And if you're a seasoned BD fan, there are few, if any, BD films you haven't already seen. And while there are several films that would be in my top 10, top 5, top 3, Bette Davis film recommends, if I can't have Now Voyager, A Stolen Life, Marked Woman, All This in Heaven 2. Write that one down. All This and Heaven 2. Co-starring Charles Boyer for the Bette seasoned or unseasoned crew. My recommendation for Sunday is one Bette Davis film I can't seem to get enough of. I ever tire of watching and can repeat watch and do on the regular. The Corn is Green. Watch it and see if you don't agree. There's a warmness to it, to this particular adaptation that feels like your favorite cup of java on a calm starlit night. You know that precise moment during the transition to dusk? That's The Corn is Green for me. There's nothing like it. Next up, Monday, August 2nd, featuring Richard Burton, where I'm recommending some of his work outside E. Taylor. Nope, don't. If you know me IRL, follow me on social media, you know Elizabeth Taylor is one of my favorite actresses. Just the same, I want to recommend something outside the Taylor box. And taking for granted, most classic movie fans have already seen The Night of the Iguana more than once. Recommending Look Back in Anger from 1959, which was hard to decide between recommending this or Where Eagles Dare from 1968, which I highly recommend watching. However, because you can catch that one fairly frequently throughout the year on multiple movie channels, particularly during specific military holidays, Look Back in Anger doesn't show up as often. Another film I want you to put on your radar is Villain, a film that underwent a full recent restoration available on Blu-ray in 2020, and undeniably a character Richard Burton plays loosely based on one half of the Cray twins, Bonnie Cray, which I admit I am a bit biased on the film itself because it co-stars Ian McShane. Tuesday, August 3rd, a feature I am very happy about, a personal, collective family favorite and household name, Kim Novak, particularly in films like Kiss Me Stupid, Picnic, and Bell Book and Candle, with Pyewacket, her actual cat, Pyewacket, all being shown. I'm recommending a film I think falls completely under the radar and highly underrated, The Notorious Landlady, co-starring Novak with Jack Lemmon for the third time, not counting Pepe. The two having worked together first in 1954. The cast also includes the Notorious Landlady, Fred Astaire in a non-musical, non-dancing role, and I find him completely charming and perfect for the role. Wednesday, August 4th, Louis Armstrong, Pops, Satch, Satchmo, Louis, Louis, whatever name you give him, he's the tops. Selecting just one film to recommend when it comes to Louis Armstrong was extremely difficult. New Orleans, 1947, a film initially Orson Welles wanted to create, the story of jazz, a film that was to be primarily based on Louis Armstrong's life, later turned into the film that we do get without Welles and without his vision and without the synopsis Welles gathered after visiting Armstrong backstage in 1945. But at least in this add-up we do get, it does pair Armstrong with Lady Day. Going Places, 1938, which is probably my first non-Cabin in the Sky film I ever saw Pops in. A film also included in the Day's lineup. Glory Alley, 1952, Pennies from Heaven, 1936. I mean, you see where I'm going with this. Wherever Louis is, all will follow. Seeing him in action on screen is an experience never to be missed. So, while I recommend making a day of it, whatever way you can, and because I'm always recommending A Man Called Adam, my recommendation, A Song is Born, 1948. While it will all seem as if you've watched this scene play out before, it is a musical remake in Technicolor of the 1941 Howard Hawks film, Ball of Fire. And while nothing can replace or remake Babs, the Coop, Dana Andrews is Daddy, with Gene Krupa on the drums, it is a musical sensation we are gifted with by, it's none other, returning to the director's seat to remake his own film, Howard Hawks, Tommy Dorsey, Benny Goodman, Louis Armstrong, Lionel Hampton, Betty Carter, Charlie Barnett, Mel Powell, Louis Bellson, who was married to Pearl Bailey from 1952 until her death in 1990. The Golden Gate Quartet, Rousseau and the Samba Kings, the Paige Cavanaugh Trio, Buck and Bubbles, for my family connection to John Bubbles Sublette. See the link below for my Betty the miniseries videos. With the dash of Dan Duryea and Steve Cochran, makes this easily my can't miss recommend for the day. Thursday, August 5th, yet another feature I'm happy to see included in the lineup, and hopefully will broaden her to a wider audience, even if you know her from the Miss Marple series, which is good. That's a good place to start because it's where I myself was formally introduced to Margaret Rutherford. For that day, I say go with as many as you can, but make the importance of being earnest and Chimes at Midnight, another Orson Welles shout out, official. Drum roll, please. August 6th, the Mitch, the only Robert Mitchum. Though I plan to spend all Friday with him while I can, I'm recommending Blood on the Moon from 1948 to still an under-mentioned film, 1960's The Sundowners. A film when the Mitch found out Deborah Carr was going to be in, he jumped on board. As Carr was someone he loved working with, and it shows as the two had worked together on multiple films, first being Heaven Knows Mr. Allison, 1957, another personal favorite of mine, and the last day of recommends this week. Personally think it's the perfect day for them. Yes, them. C-A-M-E-L-S. That's right, folks. That's C for comedy, A for Abbott, M for Maxwell, E for Ennis, L for Lou Costello. Put them all together and what do they spell? Camel. Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. A comedy duo I grew up on due to my dad who grew up on them in real time. But because of his love, it was passed down to me. And in part due to an old time radio box set I've told you the story before, he started me out with in my youth, starting with listening and memorizing the entire old time radio episode, Who's On First. Here's where I would recommend Buck Privates from 1941 because personally it's my favorite of them together. But going on a limb here and saying most every classic film fan has already seen that one at least once in their lives. If not, like Gwen Stefani, what you waiting for? Recommending one of the three films Abbott and Costello made while on loan out to MGM, Rio Rita in 1942. And if you want to make a full day of it, catch the other two MGM loan-out films being shown that day, Lost in Harem and Abbott and Costello in Hollywood, where you can catch a lot of cameos from other actors and actresses appearing as themselves, such as my fave, Lucille Ball, and an under-mentioned actor today, in my opinion, Rags Raglan, who is originally from my hometown, and I've always thought that was kind of neat. And that's going to do it for this first week of Cinema Coffee, Summer Under the Stars edition. I will see you back here next Friday with a fresh week of recommends to carry you through week 2. Until then, be safe, be well, stay healthy, stay smart, and I'll see you next time. A bientôt.
Can you get Cab Calloway on it?
Catch my panty waist
I'm
sugar.
shocked that gambling is going on in here.
By the way, how is your father?
The hidey hole.
But I want to know, does it bother you?